I need to do something. I guess I'm gonna go home. I was getting discouraged.
Right.
You know, I wanted to be in the ring. I didn't want to be a coke boy no more, which was fine. But I wanted to do more. If I couldn't do that, I'd go home until I had a chance, if I ever did. So now all the guys catch wind that I'm leaving, and I'm well liked. I've been there 6 months, and they go, "Oh, don't leave." But yeah, but so Paul Jones, number one, little Paul Jones, not little Paul Jones. He was a fucking giant of a character, but he was a smaller guy. So he said, "I heard you leaving." I said, "Yeah, I'm going back to Florida because of this and that, and just what I told you guys." He said, "Well, here's what you do. When you get to Florida, Jerry Briscoe's the assistant booker. He's a very good friend of mine." He says, "Call him, let him know that I sent you down there. It should be available. It's not going to hurt. He might not hire you, but it ain't going to hurt. At least every number." I'm bored you already?
No.
Okay, I'm kidding. So I took the office number down, and I said, "Great." Everybody patted me on the back, and I left. Went home. So I really wasn't thinking business. Not that I'm not a ballsy guy. I didn't want to just walk into the office and say, "Hey, I'm this guy and that guy." I was glad to be home for a while. I said, "Damn, I'm home, Tampa Bay. I was born and raised." So it really never entered my mind to call Jerry Briscoe because I was a little doubtful, and a little shy, and a little discouraged. And then I said, "Well, Jerry, this is my hometown. Dusty's the booker. I ain't got a chance in hell." So I got a job importing, because Tampa's the 7th largest port in the nation. With a lot of Japanese goods would come in, and they would assemble the trucks over there, and then we would piece them to get around the taxes. They would be in 2 parts. The bed would be here, and the truck would be here. When they get to the States, we'd put the bed on them and ship them all over the country wherever the trucks went. So I did that for a while, and of course I wasn't happy doing that. My mind was on the road. Boy, I had a taste of the limelight. So I got tired of I got skin burned out, and me and my buddies, which end up being my cousin by marriage, is Julio Valentino, Cesar Alfonso. Remember we did that thing?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I married his cousin, which made us cousins. So he's actually my cousin. We worked together. It was sunny, and we had the itch, and then he says, "Let's go to West Palm Beach." Just out of the blue. We're on the way to work, with the lunch bags and shit. Let's go. So we didn't even call in sick. We come back 3 days later to work. We walk into work. "Where the hell you guys been?" "Oh, we've been sick." We didn't call in. You both are fired. Get out of here. We all had suntans and shit. So we got fired. So now I'm without a job. And now something starts ringing in my head. "Why don't you call Jerry Briscoe? Why don't you call?" So I did. Called the Florida office, and there was an old man named Charlie Lay, who was an old-time wrestler in Tennessee, and he was big in his damn time. We're talking way before our time. Right. I never heard of him, and I've been around wrestling since I guess the late 60s, So he was before then. "Yeah, can I help you?" I said, "Yeah, my name's Bill Alfonso. I just moved from Charlotte. I work for Jim Crockett. Paul Jones thought it'd be a good idea for me to talk to Jerry Briscoe and let him know that I'm here." He says, "Okay, kid, why don't you come in?" This was a Friday. "Why don't you come in on Monday, and I'll set it up. We can talk to Briscoe." "All right." I said, "Okay." Bam, hung up. So that Monday, I was fucking not. I'm not from a wealthy family, but I'm from a middle, well-to-do family, and I had nice clothes and stuff, and I dressed sharp and stuff. Boy, I couldn't sleep that night. So 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm at the office door. Nobody's at the office at 8 o'clock in the morning. Just like you guys don't get here till 9:30. Fuck, who are we kidding? So I drove around, went and had a breakfast and a donut, got back, and Charlie, I knocked on the door. Now everybody's there full production. Walked in the office, Bill Alfonso, Charlie Lay. He says, "Hold on a second, kid. Alfonso's here to see your Briscoe." So he says, "Wait." So they buzzed me back, sent him up. So I had to go up. If you guys ever been in Florida, a sportatorium where they did TV for years, it was a legend place. I was a mark going through TVs and stuff when I was a kid. Yeah. Now I'm going up to meet Jerry Briscoe to try to get a job. So I walk up. He says, "Yeah, what can I do for you?" I said, "Bill Alfonso, I'm a friend of Paul Jones. I met him in the Carolinas. He told me to give you guys a call when I got in. I'll just move to Tampa. I didn't tell him that I was born and raised there and all that. All that came out later. I'm moving to Tampa. He said, give you my number and so on and so on. He said, well, who have you worked for? Now I got some names.
Right,
I said, well, I work for the Funks in Amarillo. Oh, yeah? The Funks and the Briscoes are legendary fucking matches.
Yep.
Oh, good. That's good. Who else? Joe Blanchard. So who else? I said, George Scott. George Scott? Well, you got the credentials. But here's my thing. We got our own referees, but this summer we may be running 2 towns and we might be able to use you. So leave your number with Jerry, with Charlie Lay downstairs. If we ever use you, nice meeting you, and I'll be thinking about you for real. I said, I'll find them legitimate. I said, okay, thanks, Jerry. I walked out of there, thanked everybody. As soon as I walked out, I would walk out like this. Fuck, that whole story. This was a Monday. Monday they ran West Palm Beach, which is 200 miles from Tampa. Tampa was Tuesday, Wednesday it was Miami, Thursday was Jacksonville, Friday, so on and so on. Just repeated itself over and over. So that Monday, the referee had a little heat with the office from previous fuck-ups. So that Monday, the referee had 3 guys in his car and himself driving to West Palm Beach, and there were 3 guys in the main event, like the top 3 matches of the card. Something happened to his car, and he blew 3 main events that night. He got fired that night because it wasn't his first deal. It was like 5 mistakes. He had a flat with no spare in a car with 3 main event guys, so got fired. Tuesday morning, my phone rang. Alfonso? Yes, Charlie Lay for the office. I said, yes, sir. He says, can you make it tonight? I says, yeah, not a problem. He says, okay, be there at 6 o'clock to see Dusty. I said, holy shit. Now I'm on my own. My brother's gone. He's in there, and you know what I mean? I got the same fucking size 12 shoes on, and the baggy pants, and oversized black and white referee stripe. So now I'm going to the Armory, the Fort Homer Hesterly Armory, that's where I was raised and watched all the legendary Joe Scarpa and all the fucking funk, the whole 9 yards. So I go in. I'm pretty excited, but I'm kind of maintaining. So I get there early, and Dusty was always early. He was real punctual, Dusty was. That's why we got along real good. Not that I'm punctual, but he taught me a lot of stuff. So I go to the Fort Homer Hesterly Armory. I walk upstairs where you know what I mean, was real kayfabe to the march. I said, holy shit, I'm going up. What does it look like? Eddie Graham lost his eye up there, the whole 9 yards. So I get up there, and Dusty's the only one in the dressing room because I'm early and he's early. He's always early. And he said, you knew the referee? I said, yeah. He said, Dusty Rhodes. I said, Bill Alfonso. He said, sit down, just relax over there, and all the guys should be in here. So now all these guys start piling in the dressing room. Manny Fernandez, all these guys. I can't remember exactly who was there, but as time goes by here. All the guys that I watched and stuff, and the Briscoes, and Eddie Graham comes in. He wasn't real involved at that time, but he'd come around, and like in Tampa, he wouldn't go to all the shows, but he lived in Tampa, so he'd give them the Tampa shows, the TVs and stuff. So I heard a couple of the guys saying to Dusty, who's that guy? Because I didn't have my clothes on, I didn't know whether to get dressed or not. Who's that guy? Who's that guy? You know what I mean? And he said, oh, his brother's in the business. He's a referee. We're going to use him tonight. Oh, Jody Hamilton was there. The Masked Assassins. Yeah, Nick Patrick's dad.
Is that Nick Patrick's dad?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
And Jody's in the office in WCW. Yeah.
He's just something with the school or something?
He's affiliated with the school, and he's at all the TVs, and he schedules underneath talent for the TV job guys and the referees, and you know what the gorilla position is?
No.
It's the position where you stand before you go out to the ring, like on a pay-per-view and all the TVs.
Right.
Gorilla Monsoon used to be back there all the time. That's why they call it the gorilla position. He was at the gorilla position saying, go, 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 and 6 minutes, and the cues, go home, this and that.
Oh, okay.
So he was one of the guys. So the night went on, and I just fit right in after the main after the first few minutes of them not knowing who I was and me not knowing who they were, but I didn't,
Right.
was over. Then we all started getting along, just like we are here.
Right.
We're all fucking here. We're all pretty cool. And
Right.
they asked me, a couple guys, where you been? I said, yeah, I'm in the Sheik's match. And then he stuck me with a pen, so it was a little stiff. And so I got over it with a couple little funny
Was he
stories.
stiff?
No, but
No.
he treated me good for some reason because he's been known to hurt guys. Yeah, but and Mr. Humperdinck's name and oh yeah, Hump's been here. Yeah, so they kind of clicked me in right away. And again that night I was a fucking natural. I was just custom built for the business, and since day one. So after that night, Jerry Briscoe came up and says, "Can you make Miami and Jacksonville Thursday?" And I said, "Yeah, not a problem." And I drove by myself those trips, and he said, "You can hook up with some guys if you want, but I didn't really know. I knew how, but I didn't. I drove the shots by myself and did well." So by that Sunday, they kept asking me every night at the end of the show, "Can you make the next night? Can you make the next night?" So from Tuesday to Sunday, Jerry Briscoe came up to me Sunday night and says, "You're in. Got a full-time job if you want it. But remember this, you can leave as fast as you came."
Right.
I never forget him saying that to me. And it was real serious, like not being an asshole, but saying this is how it is, kid. You know what I mean? You fuck up or something, there's no guarantees in life here. This business is fucking heavy, man. The vicious offices are sometimes. Vicious. And I ended up being there until they closed shop.
That's a long time.
And then from there, I went to TBS, and then I went to WWF, and then I went to Japan, and now to Vince, and so that's my story. How I basically got my full-time job. And
do you want to talk about the other companies? You want to talk about stories now? I mean,
whatever you guys want to talk about. I mean,
since we're on to Florida, when was it that you actually realized that they like hit big, that they hit like national, stardom, and were recognized worldwide?
Well, nobody knew. It was totally different back then. Nobody hit national and worldwide until Vince started doing his things and TBS started having, that Channel 17, the Superstation. So we knew we were hot. I mean, they knew they were hot to a certain degree. I mean, we ran Florida. We didn't run nowhere else.
Right.
Everybody had their territory. Georgia was one, Mid-Atlantic, Texas, Bill Watts. Everybody had different. Tennessee. There's 29 territories in the country, so nobody was worldwide hot.
Mm-hmm.
But except for the heavyweight champion who would go to Japan or something like that. So the question was, there wasn't no worldwide because we weren't never hot. But we realized we were one of the hotter territories.
Mm-hmm.
When we were doing sellout business and stuff like that, and they had our crew down to like 16 guys instead of having 29 guys on the card and 8 matches and 3 tags and 4 managers and 9 reps and 2 whores and all kinds of, I didn't mean to say 2 whores and, that big package. I think the Florida Nut at one time, their expense was, I think it was $45,000.
Wow.
Expense, which seemed high back then, but that was their TVs, their talent, their insurance, their buildings, their office, their personnel, their cokes, their things, everything combined.
Mm-hmm.
And we were exceeding that way a lot. So, but before I came in when Dusty was there, and Dusty brought it to another level, and he had different visions, and he could see some of the future, and that's why I fit in. Actually, when I came in, I was in the tail end of the old school, so I got to see some of that, like the Matsudas and the Bobo Brazils and those guys like that. And then some of the guys stayed, like the Murdochs, and those guys stayed for another. So I saw some of the old time guys, they faded out. I saw some of that. Then I graduated and saw the the Dusties and all that go and become the powerfuls. And I saw the new guys coming in, like the Wyndhams and those guys and the Terry Allens. Then it excelled past that.
Yeah.
You know, so Dusty had the vision. Actually, Dusty wasn't real well liked by the Florida office because of his thinking. He was thinking of ahead. These guys, nothing against the Florida office, but it was like there was 4 or 5 owners. I think Eddie was one of the owners. Pat Tanaka's dad was one of the owners. Hiro Matsuda was one of the owners. Somebody from Atlanta was one of the owners. So they, Barnett was one of the owners. So they had several different owners. And they didn't want to take money out of their pocket to put in the business to make it bigger. And Dusty's vision was, you know, Lords of the Ring, let's do bigger things, and let's do this. That's why he left, I believe, Florida and went to Crockett, because Crockett was going to give him more power. And Crockett was real enthusiastic about the business and could foresee the future, not like these old-time guys that were happy spending no money, making X amount of money when they could have spent more money, made more money.
Right.
So, so what was my point?
Just basically about hitting Florida, going basically becoming hot more.
Oh, and Florida was getting hot when we were selling out every building. We would be selling out every building we went to, and we had like a 16-man crew.
Right.
And an angle would last for a while.
Right.
We wouldn't have to bring in. We brought in somebody to be like the world champ for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Or stuff like that, but man, what a business! I knew we were hot then when we had people calling us from all over the country trying to get in. We just had no room,
Right.
and I wasn't in the office, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
we all knew our territory.
Yeah.
But it had grown big, and Dusty was the main key to that. And Dusty didn't wrestle that much because he didn't have to. It wasn't on TV that much. Why give him the product when you don't have to?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The Wyndhams were carrying it, and those guys like that, and it was great, man.
Yeah. Was in general with the Florida locker rooms, was it a lot of camaraderie, or was it separated by
good.
ego? Or?
Dusty was there were several different bookings. As you guys remember, I was there 6 to 8 years before it kind of fell through, and when Vince McMahon kind of and TBS and all that started,
Right.
it was real good. And Dusty had everybody pretty good. There was some big heads, but there wasn't big. You know, everybody's got an ego.
Right.
But Dusty kept us going like as a ball team. He would have the meetings, you know, like Paulie has the meetings in the dressing room in the State of the Union, but Dusty would have meetings all the time and put this guy over from the underneath guy to this guy. We were like a ball team.
Right.
I mean, we were a team. We weren't like
separated, or
there wasn't no Neon Dion that wanted his own dressing room.
Your own agendas.
Does Vince do that too? The big meetings and stuff in front of everyone?
Yeah, not a lot, but of course they have meetings, especially when somebody fucks up or something. Yeah, and they all have their meetings. You heard one meeting, you heard them all because they're basically the same.
Right.
They try to keep everything flowing good. Every meeting is the same. Every time I hear Paulie's going to call a meeting or Vince is going to call a meeting, I look at the guy I'm running with or traveling with, and here it goes again. The same old meeting we've heard 10,000 times. Basically, it's, the majority of the meetings is the stuff you've heard all your life in the business.
Just morale, good morale.
Yeah, you got to have it.
Wow.
What's any good Gordon Solie stories?
Gordon Solie actually was great guy. In fact, we still talk once in a while, and he lives about 30 minutes from me. Actually, I lived in Odessa, which Gordon Solie lived, but he sold his property because it was too much for him to maintain. It was a big lake house, and him and Smokey, his wife, moved to off US 19 to like a Newport Richie area in a condo, and so they still have his name there on his road, Solie Road.
Oh, really?
Named after him?
Yeah,
Wow.
they sure did because he was a legend.
Right.
Actually, he was a legend. Yeah, he's great. Jack and Jerry Briscoe live like on the next lake.
Oh, really?
Yep. And good Solie stories. Just a classic guy. So, I guess he approached them somehow and wanted to be an announcer for the wrestling, and he did that, and he had that raspy voice back then.
Yeah.
And then the TV hit, and then take it from there. Now he's a legend.
Right. In 82 and 83, which I don't know. A lot of people see him as like some of the classic years of Florida. Who was behind it? Was it Dusty? That it was like Dusty's ideas at the time, like 82, 83?
What matches were you talking about? Who was there?
The Sullivan angles.
Yep.
You know.
Actually, they were against Sullivan. The Office, again, the rest of the Office didn't want to spend the money and all that. This has nothing to do with money, but Dusty and I guess whoever had the vision of the Sullivan, the Devil, but Kevin was not small.
Right.
He's a little short, but he's a big.
He was a bodybuilder,
dude.
wasn't he?
Yeah, he was big. I've seen him cut up and look like Lex Luger, but shorter. And I've seen him big as a damn house. You know? So, the Office said, "Oh, this guy would never get over here. This thing." But Dusty had the vision, and him and Dusty were the hottest things for. They would sell out, and they would overdo it. They wouldn't. Dusty knew his talent like Paul Heyman knows his audience. Dusty knew his audience, what he could do, what he couldn't do. Not too much, not too little bit, but kept that soap opera going. My God, it was similar to this.
When anybody thinks of Florida, you always think of Kevin Sullivan doing the devil worship.
Yeah, it's like
Everybody. Hayes.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. How was Blackjack Mulligan an integral part of like the booking or the kids? No, not at all.
Nope.
He was just one of the boys, one of the workers.
Just a friend of Dusty's for years. His son was over there, like he was the next superstar of the business, Barry Windham. And he had already been there for a couple of years, and Mulligan was out doing New York or Minnesota, wherever the hell he was, and never been into Florida. And I'm not sure if Dusty and Mulligan had some type of something was going on there whether they didn't bring him in. But anyway, all that was overlooked. I'm sure they're good friends today. But it was time to bring in Blackjack Mulligan. Dusty knew. It's like Paul Heyman. He knows what to do. I never second guessed Paul Heyman. I tried to one time since I've been here. And I said, no, I don't think that's not good for me. He said, Fonz, trust me. And I did, and it happened, and bam, and I've been here a year, and I'll never second guess him again. But I can view my opinion anytime, and he's accept that and changes things around for me if I, but so it was time for Mulligan to come in because the angle with the Sullivan and the Wyndham and all that came through, and here comes Blackjack. I remember how they brought him in. We used to go to this bar Tuesday nights called Papa's every Tuesday night, and it was like a country western bar because that was Dusty was country and western. I still wear boots. And I never chewed the snuff, but I had a can of snuff in my back pocket all the time, like Dusty. Hey baby, listen to Will and Jennings and shit. It's cool.
Yeah.
If you're around that for 5 years, you're gonna do it. You know what I mean? Yeah, Mark, and I loved it. So the thing was they hurt Wyndham. Kevin hurt Wyndham bad, like on the shoot. But by that, he didn't mean to, but it was potatoed them and knocked them out, concussioned them, and we played it off, and it was a big angle. So you see on, you watch it on shows like a soap opera, like Paul's show as Paul Heyman, like a soap opera, and you see Dusty shooting pool, and you see Wyndham there. Now this is weeks later. Now they're shooting pool, and it shoots the cue ball, and all of a sudden this big thing. Mulligan had hands like about this big. I mean, just huge hands. I mean, he was actually a small giant.
Yeah.
And the cue ball, he grabs the ball, picks up, and starts going into this real serious interview, and then comes in, and then he went later to the get your mama out of the kitchen interviews and all that, but this was a serious angle to bring him in. Like they brought the Purple Haze in. Kevin Sullivan had this guy, Purple Haze, Mark Lewin, swim from Singapore in the ocean all the way and come out of the water.
Classic.
And you know what I mean?
Sure.
So, but actually Mulligan wasn't involved in the booking. He was just a part of the talent.
Really?
Yeah.
When did Eddie Graham come into play as like being like a big part of the booking? Because
Eddie was already gone when I got there in '80. Not gone in the sense of not being around the office, but was already out of the ring, already out of the office. He had been in the wrestling business for 30 years before I got there. Was all over Tennessee, New York, and wasn't involved, but he was the owner, one of the main owners, and his son Mike Graham. So Eddie would just come down to the shows, like I mentioned before a little bit, just to stay involved, get away out of the house, and want to know how the business was run, and still loved the business, and you know what I mean, had influence. If somebody, old friend Eddie's called him up and said, "Hey, can you bring my kid in?" Bam, whatever Eddie said went basically. So Eddie was not real involved in the office by the time I got there, but I had met him and he liked me a lot. We got along real well, and it's a shame that he's gone today, but things happen.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.